Content is king. Well then, presentation is the queen. And guess what? She's the one wearing the pants in the couple. Today we are going to look at how to nail every single of your future presentations and speech. It can be part of a job, part of school, or just a presentation to one of your friends. No matter which kind of it, from now on, you're going to nail them. And this because I believe you deserve to live your life at its full potential. Just like for the self-doubt, I'm going to give you actual exercises and ways to behave to nail those presentations. It could be easy for me to just give you basic tips and pieces of advice like, oh, you should be prepared. Well, everyone knows about that. And being prepared doesn't mean that you're going to nail the presentation. So many people actually over-prepare for presentations because of the stress, and in the end, end up failing. So what we're going to do is that we'll follow a timeline from before the presentation or the preparation to the wow effect and the applause at the end. Let me start off with one of my favorite quotes ever, which is less is more. While preparing a presentation, try to remove as many information as possible. Only keep what is critical, crucial for your presentation. The more information you give, the less audience retention you'll have. Just think about it. When you go to a lecture, if one of your lecturers is going straight to the point, just giving you what is critical, what is crucial, what you need to know for your exam, you are going to listen to everything and take notes. But if someone is just talking to you about everything, you will just lose your concentration, lose your focus, and stop listening to them. This is exactly the same with a presentation. Because what lecturers are doing is presenting to you their lecture. Following that, when you prepare your presentation, know that you need to shorten it as much as possible. And this is valid for both your spoken presentation and your slides. If you are using slides, try to only put images or bullet points. The less information are on the slides, the more people will have to listen to you to get the interesting information. And if it's part of a school project, you might tell me that you have a time constraint. It needs to be at least 10 minutes. Well, that's easy. Fill up with stories, images, and examples. The audience is made of humans most of the time. And what do humans love more than anything? That's easy. Being entertained. Stories, examples, images, they entertain people. Every single presentation is made of two parts: the introduction and then everything else. The introduction is critical, and that's what you need to focus on while preparing your presentation, because the introduction is when you're going to grab your audience attention. When you have the attention, as long as you're not completely boring, you are going to keep it for the entire presentation. However, if you do fail to get this attention at the beginning, it's going to be terribly hard and you will even probably never get it throughout your entire presentation. So how to prepare to make sure you're going to nail this introduction? Well, that's easy. You don't. There is no need to prepare it. It's all about the way you're going to act and behave in front of the audience. The preparation is already done. Less is more than enough. To nail the introduction, you need 2 points. The first one is the bang effect. I surprised you, right? Well, that's exactly the thing that we want. So to do that, you have 2 options. The first one is to play with sounds, and the second one is to play with visuals. So first off, playing with sounds. Sounds is so many things. It can be a huge bang, but it also can be silence. What I truly love doing at the beginning of every single presentation is just waiting, not saying anything. I just take a few deep breaths. And I wait. I wait for the audience to calm down and then to look at myself. And when they start looking at me, I just smile. And by doing so, I just show confidence. It doesn't matter if I'm not confident. I stress a lot. However, I give the audience the impression that I don't. And when the audience believes you are confident, they will most likely focus on yourself rather than continue doing things. However, this doesn't always work. Sometimes the audience will continue talking. And that's when I like to just play with one huge bang, or just do something that is completely unrelated with the presentation, but that will surprise the audience. One of the things that I love doing when I start a presentation and there's this massive sound all around is just to bring fake notes. Like, those notes are not supposed to be there for the presentation. No, they are there just for the show. What I do is that I come in front of the audience with my notes and then I just rip them apart. The sound of the paper ripped apart will just catch the attention of every single person in the room. It doesn't matter, those notes were fake. However, by doing so, I got the attention and I'm ready to start. Then, the second thing that will make your introduction and pretty much your entire presentation interesting is to give emotions. You can have the most interesting presentation ever if you're closed this way and just speak with a manticore tone and then just give all the flow of information without really looking at the audience. In the end, even though everything should be interesting, they will not care. However, if you watch them, open yourself and give emotions. Put emphasis on the important words. When you are talking about a subject, no matter which subject it is, but use the stories and images that you put inside as emotional bonds with the audience. One easy example, because no matter where you're from in the world, we all had to do this once in our life. A presentation about gun laws. If you're for the guns, while talking about how guns saved people, put emphasis on this story. Make an emotional bond with the audience. Tell them how without the guns, so many more people would have died. But that's because someone had those guns, that he was able to save so many people. That was absolutely mind-blowing. On the other hand, if you're against the guns, give numbers and tell them how terrible it was. Can you realize that 6,000 children die every single year because of guns? I actually don't know anything about those numbers. But see what I meant? Put emotions in your speech and you will keep the audience attention. Another thing to do for a presentation that will really help you is to not memorize your presentation. I know, that sounds completely crazy. I mean, if you memorize the presentation, that means you master it. If you master the presentation, that means it's going to be great, right? Well, absolutely not. Memorizing an entire presentation is really hard. Some people will manage to do it, but most people will not. Also, even if you do manage to memorize your presentation, it comes with risks. The first risk is that you will forget something. And our brain works in such a way that if you memorize an entire presentation and then forget one point, your brain will just reboot and come back at the beginning of a presentation. And the best way to see this phenomenon is passwords. How many of you at one point miswrote the last character of your password and instead of removing just the last, removed the entire password? Because you're creating a doubt in your mind. You're just like, damn it, was it just the last one? Or the one before? Or, you know what, better remove everything. Also, it's easier to remind your password from the beginning than after several characters. Well, when you memorize and forget about what you memorized, the exact same phenomenon applies. And the second risk is to lose the emotions. The audience is made of humans. And I can't stress this enough, because humans love to see humans. They don't want to see a robot. Knowing your presentation by heart is great, But that means that you risk losing flavor. You risk to just give the presentation, to just get rid of it. And the audience will feel this. Don't give the presentation. Make the audience participate. Because when you give, that means the other needs to receive. And based on that, you create a difference between your audience and yourself. That should not exist. Participate. When you're doing a presentation, create this emotional bond with the audience. Make them believe they participate. Make them believe that it's not you presenting a subject to them, but it's you having a conversation with them. Make them be your friend, your backup while presenting the subject. And finally, I have one last point that is critical to nail every single of your future presentations. Own your mistakes. Mistakes are normal. Everyone does them. So if you do make a mistake, if you stutter, if you goof up, just own it. As I told you before, the audience loves when you act as a human that you are. So when you do make a mistake, play on it. Self-effacing humor, the fact of accepting your flaws and being modest, that's a show stealer. Everyone loves it. And then just start off your presentation and you'll see that you're going to nail it. And with this, you will live your life at its full potential. I hope you liked the video. If you did, don't forget to put a thumbs up, share the video, subscribe to my channel. Don't forget that next week is going to be a French lesson video, and you can also follow me on all my social medias, because there I'm going to give you more advice about, yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to do that, but I'll try. You can also support me on Patreon. I mean, nailing your presentation might be worth something, right? I'm kidding. Just do as you want. And no matter what happens, I will see you in my next video. Have an amazing, wonderful day. Don't forget to smile and live your life at its full potential.